Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 47 of Confessions of a Market Maker. I'm your co-host, Ray, aka All Day Ray, aka Rasta Ray, and I'm joined here by my exquisite co-host, former market maker of 20 years and current day retail trader. I'm talking about a man who's lived a lot of life and has more stories than Forrest Gump. I am talking about the Sri Lankan Ricky Rose, the house street flipper with over 200 deals under his belt. Of course, I'm talking about JJ. How's it going, brother?
Airi, man. Airi.
You're gonna have to translate. Was that what?
That's well, you said you're a Rasta, so everything's Airi.
I guess I'm not that Rasta then. I mean,
You have to go to the MIAO for that, I think.
yeah. Well, it's nice. It's nice to get back to doing a pod. Just between us two. We've had a string of really good guests on. It's been a lot of fun.
Definitely. I've got to give a thanks to our producer Steve, because this guy's like the Energizer Bunny when it comes to working with us. He never stops working. It's just you could like power a city with the energy this man has. It's amazing. Thank you.
It is. Yes. We appreciate all the hard work he does behind the scenes. Shout out to Steve, and that's at Beyond the Trades on Twitter and the website too. Great interviews on there. So today's podcast, at the request of some listeners, we're going to be talking about my first year of trading. What I've learned, how the progress has been coming along, what I'm doing well, what needs improvement, et cetera, et cetera. Jay, it's been just over a year since you took me under your wing, and since we started this podcast as well.
Just under a year, yeah, definitely. And actually, I've learned so much from the people I teach, like yourself, on how to teach better and more efficiently. So that's really cool. That's been one of the really cool things about this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I guess, Jay, before you begin the questions that you've prepared for me, do you want to give the listeners your general overview of my trading after a year?
Well, I have been sort of helping people learn how to trade for about 6 years now, 7 years. And it started out in a difficult way, because they'd ask me what I thought of things, and I came from the institutional side. So I had a lot to learn about retail trading. And I really struggled my way through it and went through all these resources. And I found, I thought I'd try, once I actually learned how to do this, how to try and synthesize this in a way that people can understand and start seeing some kind of results. Now, trading is really tough, and you're not going to go from 6 months to Paul Tudor Jones, but it's fascinating. I've seen, and I think it's because of your background playing poker, that you actually understand risk and managing the amount of money that you have, which is your capital, and those are your bullets for the day. And that, I think, has really kept you, because you hear about this, people blowing up accounts, all of that sort of thing. The other thing is, you didn't have any bad habits. When you come into trading retail, a lot of people have traded this style or that style, or even myself as a ex-institutional guy. You got a lot of bad habits you got to get rid of to be a successful retail trader, and you didn't have those. So that was really cool. So your time frame in which you started learning and grasping stuff was accelerated. It was quite fascinating.
Yeah,
And now I understand why people who run firms would rather have people with no experience, because they don't have any bad habits.
right. And I guess that was fortunate for me. I was talking to Mac, Mac in our room, our
Yeah.
trading room, and shout out to Mac. We were just talking about market dynamics today, and he was just talking about how he's had to adjust and how things are a little bit different than how it used to be, in a certain time period. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I this is all I know right now, and so I don't know no different.
But that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Because the market will change, and you will have to learn how to adapt to the price action.
Right.
And it's almost like another chapter in the book. And you'll remember different markets, and oh, I remember this market had traded this way. It was very weird, and it took me, like, I remember when we started going to more algo execution, I had a hell of a time because that fluidity was gone. It was choppy.
Hmm.
And I had to figure out what was going on. So I think that's really cool that like this is like the first chapter of your book,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's of your journey. It's pretty cool, you know.
Right. 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 And I gotta give a shout out to you, for your guidance as well, and in looking at the market through the lens of what's the motivation of the participants. And I think that is such a huge game changer, which a lot of people don't look at it, or, people that we talk to who come into our room. And I think looking at it from that way, and even from me transitioning to trading futures to equities, it's
Mhm.
all the things you taught me are still applicable. And you see it too. I mean, we analyze these stocks together, you know.
Exactly.
You know.
And, and that's really cool how you've transitioned from trading one product to trading a different set of agenda and order flow every day with different stocks. I always give. I think people who can day trade a different, a couple of different symbols every day. Uh, I find that difficult. I can manipulate 20 symbols a day, but I can't day trade them because I'm not controlling the order flow. And so it's very interesting to watch how you guys do that, and how Steve and you guys have, well, not simplified it, but you've distilled it down to where people can actually understand the process of taking the trade and the risk. And those scans that you use, the trades that they spit out, they're just like right across home plate, like they're nice, fat, slow pitches.
Hmm.
It's really cool. It's really cool to watch how the interaction between AI and then the actual using that information to actually, generate alpha, which is pretty cool.
It is. It is. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
putting it all together. It's great. And so just a reminder to the listeners that if you guys want to learn market auction theory, market profile, trade futures, trade equities, you can join JJ and I at the lovely trading community at microefutures.com. All right, JJ, you got some
All
questions?
right, here we
Let's
go.
do it.
Can you explain your journey from learning market profile to now back testing and coding your own scans for equities trading?
Mhm.
And how did you prepare for this? Any similarities?
Hmm. I guess I think the transition was relatively smooth. I mean, I think smooth from, like, what I just mentioned,
Yeah.
that the same principles you taught me, especially like market auction theory, it applies, it transfers over beautifully. It's everything you taught me is applicable. As
Hmm.
far as using the scans and things of that nature, back testing, I think comes a little bit more from my poker background, because I essentially back tested poker hands, poker scenarios, and that's what I used to
That's
do.
that's fascinating. I didn't even know that was possible. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean that's partly why I transitioned to trading, because poker is getting too damn tough. Everyone's doing that. So if you got all the best
Oh,
players who are doing that, and we're learning how to play each situation in an almost optimal way, it gets tough. Like,
oh
there's not
yeah,
much
no
money to be
kidding.
made. But
Wow.
so essentially, I was back testing different poker scenarios. So when I would come to the table, JJ, I could just execute. I wouldn't have to think. You know what I'm saying?
That's That's really cool because my exposure to poker was in the 1980s, where poker was conducted in the back room of restaurants at 3 a.m. and it's all gangsters.
Yeah.
So now I see how scientific you guys have gotten over this. It's really quite fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah. Think about those guys, and then who we had on the podcast, Ryan Fee. It's a huge,
Yeah,
this
it's
guy's
like,
smart beyond belief.
yeah, and he's not even carrying a gun.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is poker. I'm like, okay, all right, you guys, gave it a little spit and polish here and modernized it.
Right,
Uh,
right.
yeah.
So, yeah, so, as far as, like the back testing and having the scans, I think what it does, it helps with JJ is just that executing, because to put a trade on, Jay, we're thinking you have to think a lot of things through your head that are
Mhm.
going, like, and you have to make a
Yeah.
timely decision.
Yeah.
And so just having to execute, not think, I think is a big advantage, because, like, learning how to execute well is just a whole nother game in itself. And so
That's
it helps. It helps with
definitely.
that.
Definitely. And I just want to say for all the old folks listening who hate AI, don't. Because I didn't. I've always loved software and stuff like that. But there's a lot of guys my age who are like, the algos. They're just like so against it. And God love them, but some of the like the 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 scans that come out of this software, and then I'll take the scan and they give me the symbol, and I'll look at it structurally using the profile and looking at the market structure, and it's freaky how the scan actually takes into effect market structure and
Hmm.
how some of those EMAs can tell whether their size is breaking it or not, so where the sell, if there's a big seller, get out. It's really really cool. It's something that I think that's one thing in trading, to be open minded to stuff like that. It's and Ray's really like done amazing things with these things. So that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I like,
You,
and, just before we move to the next side,
yeah,
I like how, I think on the surface, a lot of people could like look at how me and you trade, and we're trading different products, or different markets. We're going about a different way, but we're really not. Like the with the collaboration and what we're
yeah,
trying to achieve and what we're trying to look at, we're just trying to find out what's the motivation of the participants, and a lot of times it aligns up, right? Like when we
hmm,
analyze these things and you pull it up on the profile, we're
oh
like
yeah,
we're best and
okay,
essentially seeing the
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here they're taking it up here. Now they're paying for their Bentley. Now they're,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um, right? Uh, do you recommend that new traders follow this path, and why, if so?
No, I think every trader has to follow their own path. I
Yeah,
I followed this path because this is what spoke to me.
yeah, I think that
You
that's
know,
very true. Yeah, it's
everyone's got to follow their own path, and I don't like people who, and I think this really goes for anything, Jay. It's not even just trading, right? You have to make a determination of what's good for you, what's not good for you, and
yeah,
as a trader, that's what you have to do.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Retail trading is really cool. It's almost like an artistic thing because everyone looks at something differently. They interpret something differently. They chart things differently. Different things mean different things to them, and it's fascinating to see all of that because when you come from my side of things, things are pretty simple. Take the stock
Hmm.
up, sell the stock, go home. But it's really fascinating to see how people have completely different trading styles, and yeah, that's cool. That's a great answer.
Hmm.
Let's see. Well, what else do we have here? What was the biggest adjustment you had to make from trading ES to using profile to trading equities?
Hmm. Biggest adjustment? Well, I guess the biggest adjustment is in like you say, and I know you'll get what I'm saying. Like trading ES, you're just trading one market.
Yeah.
You can kind of, I guess, get with the agenda
Hmm.
of what's going on. You're more in the flow of it. Whereas, I'm trading different tickers every day. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes, I come across the same ones, but they're all going to have different agendas. Um,
Definitely.
these stocks. So I guess that might make it a little bit difficult. But what we do is we trade the strategies. We don't trade tickers. So
Cool.
I guess that's
Uh,
the answer.
Also, why did you choose stocks over futures? You know, the
Yeah.
variety.
I think I definitely like the variety because as you know, sometimes the ES can be a snoozer, certain days.
Yeah.
And me, like I'm a
Mm,
little bit more aggressive by nature. And I know it's driven
yeah.
you nuts at times. I'm like, Jay, where's the trade? Jay, where's the trade? Like,
Hell
no, I'm
yeah.
nuts. There's no fucking trade. You're like,
Just chill out.
and I'm like, no,
Just
man, come on. There's got to be a way to make money here. And so,
shouldn't you be at Wendy's?
yeah. So me, I make a lot of trades in a day. But I'm a very quick trader. I guess I don't know if you would call it scalping or not, but I like to be in the action, and it probably just stems from poker. Jay, I would play
Yeah.
4 or 5 tables of poker at a time, always boom, 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 boom. So that's kind of how equities trading is, and then also just the appeal to the back testing because, like I mentioned before, I'm familiar somewhat. It's a little different from back testing
Okay.
stocks and trading from poker. But that was a little familiar to me, and that appealed to me.
That's cool. Can you explain what coding and back testing scans entails?
What's it entail? I
Yeah.
mean, shit. I mean, I guess. I
All
mean,
right,
essentially,
time to put on your computer science hat now.
yeah. No, no, and I'm not like a computer science guy. I'm like I don't code it actually myself, right? Like Trade
Yeah.
Ideas provides the parameters, and it's not like it's like a magical thing either. I don't just back test something. It works because it might work for some time, but then markets change and it's not working. You have to adjust, but Trade Ideas provides the software with parameters that you can
Mhm.
back test with, and it's a lot of trial and error. You plug in certain parameters. It's in its 10-day range. You can put Fibonacci, EMAs, etc. You know, and you're
Yeah.
essentially like a scientist, Jay. You're trying to figure out what's the right formula here, what's working under these
That's really cool.
circumstances and these market conditions.
It's a very interesting approach. That that I find that stuff fascinating.
Yeah, and I say
And
this, there's people, you know, I don't think I'm someone to look up to when it comes to like back testing and coding. There's people that are far better than me, but I have a general idea, you know.
yeah, those guys speak a different language.
Yeah,
They're like the Da Vinci's of the modern age. These guys who code and build software. It's pretty amazing what they've done.
yeah.
Um, you know, let me see here. Oh yeah, uh, you were recently bedridden with COVID for 2 weeks. How are you doing today, and how has that affected your trading? I think it's made it better.
Yeah, maybe. I think it just I think what it reinforced for me was coming back with a fresh mind. You know, like I mean, it wasn't like a vacation by no means, but I was away from the market for 10 days
This is
or
like
however
me when I
long.
got my bypass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
But
hey,
yeah,
this is like a hey, they bring you food. You don't, this is great. It's like a resort.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I was doing good before, you know, I got COVID. But when I came back, I went, you know, maybe it was partly luck. I'm sure it was. You know, like everything I was picking was just like fucking running, you know.
Yeah,
Part luck, but you know, I came back with a fresh mind and you know, you kill it and sometimes that's what's needed. I mean, especially if you're in a rut. I
yeah,
think
definitely.
just taking care of yourself, you know, not always just being consumed with trading, you know. Yeah. I mean, you can easily get consumed with this, and I don't think it's good for.
I've noticed you're calmer in your when you're trading.
Yeah, well, I
You're
mean, shout out to shout out to Kim, you know, the
yeah.
our last podcast guest. I mean, she's helped me tremendously, you know, but um
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of segue to the next question here. You're working with a trading coach.
yeah.
If so, can you share, or is that more private? Can you share the
No,
benefits?
yeah, I could share. Yeah, no, definitely. I'll definitely openly talk about it. Yeah, I mean, it's been phenomenal. Like I said, shout out to her, and if you guys haven't listened to it, go listen to it. You know, and I never like promoting or like pumping our podcast, but that was a phenomenal episode in my opinion. I know you felt it too, Jay. Like when we were talking to her in the moment, like the energy was just
Yeah,
crazy.
she's just, the thing about her. There are some people that just when you're around them, their energy just like lifts you, and she's got the perfect combination of Hawaii and New York. You
Yeah,
know,
right,
it's
right.
like
Yeah,
it's yeah. She's got the edge of New York, and she's got the aloha coming in, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed that. I was like, I didn't even know who it was when you're like, I got a guest. I'm like, okay, let's go with it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I was like, yeah. I was like, where did you find her? You know, it's
yeah,
like, damn.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
I was really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
yeah. So yeah, no, very fortunate to like cross paths with her. Yeah, I mean, and like we were talking about on that podcast, me and her don't ever even talk about my trading directly.
Yeah.
We talk more about, I mean, really just what's on my mind, what I want to talk to her about. And she's helped me just with personal growth tremendously, and this has translated to my trading. Like this week hasn't been
Yes.
the best week of trading for me, but I've been calm, serene. I know it's like, okay, like today was good. Today was good for me. The past 2 days weren't great. Um, but yeah, she just helped me grow as an individual, and then it translates into trading. And I've always thought that like if I can be a calmer person, I'm not going to tilt when I'm trading, or I
That's
can help
true.
prevent it. I can be aware of it, etc.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's really cool. It's just yeah, and trade that whole retail trading thing, it just unlocks all this stuff about your psyche that you never knew.
yeah, I mean, I wish I would have worked with her when I was playing poker, like
Yeah.
way back, and that would have helped me, tenfold.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
Um, you know, how do you how do you think, I mean, what do you think about working in a community like we've built at the micro futures and the equities, etc? Can you you know, try and explain the benefits without promoting the rooms, like just the
yeah,
benefits of having a decent community.
yeah. Well, I mean, even if we didn't have our room, I would definitely be part of a room. I think one, I mean, I guess trading could be lonely for sure. I mean, why would you
No
want to just
kidding.
trade by yourself on the computer and not have people to talk to? That I don't get. I definitely enjoy just the banter. Like we have a lot of fun in our room. We bust balls all the
Yeah.
time. I love that, but not just that, ideas to bounce off of each other during the day. I get to see what you're seeing. I get what other
Hmm.
people are seeing, and it's not like I always follow, but it's good to get an
No.
idea of what people are thinking.
Yeah, and perspective. It's also true. What I really think is cool is when I'm teaching, the people I'm teaching every once in a while will go, "Hey, what about this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I missed that," you know.
Yeah,
And I really
right.
like that because it shows that they're learning at an accelerated rate when they're pointing out stuff that I might have missed. Because you always miss something. There's so many details in these market profile charts. Uh, I find that really cool. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I working on a trade desk. It was a very social environment,
Right.
so that it's nice having that.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean,
That
this could be
atmosphere.
so lonely. Like, and this is the one aspect I enjoy a lot more than poker is like it's almost like a team environment. Like we're rooting each other on, like in the
Yeah,
trades, or it's like, oh, maybe we took the same trade together. It's more of a team environment. I grew up playing sports. I love that. I love the camaraderie. Whereas poker is just you. It's a
mhm.
solo, a real solo endeavor. It can be lonely for sure. So yeah, if you're not part of a community, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you would want to trade alone.
Yeah. I didn't. I never really thought about that until I started doing it, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of like and I think if I had been around more people, I would have maybe learned a little quicker too.
Hmm.
Uh, because I find some of like there's some people that have been in a room for like 6 weeks now, and they're like, I don't know, they're like learning at an accelerated rate, like those velociraptors of the second generation or something. They're like, whoa, it's like some of the stuff like 6 weeks ago they didn't know what it was, and but they put in the work. They're replaying charts at night and they're watching price action, and they want it really bad. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, and you
It's
get access. I mean, get access to people like yourself, been in the game 20 plus years, probably longer than that.
27. Yeah.
We got a guy like yes, we got a guy like Chris Hanks, who this guy retired at 30 years old. He's going to be on the
Yeah.
podcast next week. He's a lot of fun, but really sharp guy. Retired
Yes.
at 30. We have RX. We got a prop guy.
Yeah.
So being part of communities, you especially if you're new, I mean, having access
Yeah.
to someone that with that much experience, you can't replace experience. Like
Exactly. What I
you got to put in
exactly
the time to get that, so you might as well learn from others, so you don't have to go through that pain yourself.
the one cool thing, and we'll because there's otherwise it's going to sound like a promotional video, but the one cool thing I like about our room is that we'll have a guy who trades 5-10,000 contracts, and he'll sit and chat with a guy who's brand new, who's a one contract micro trader,
Yeah,
and that's really cool, and I love that vibe.
yeah,
So moving on, so we don't
yeah. So
let's
it's not a
see
little
here.
pumping.
Pump of the room. I feel like I'm running a penny stock radio show. And now, folks, get on the bid. Let's see. Um, do you have any advice to a new trader who is struggling like you did in your early months of learning how to trade? That is, Jesus, that's probably the hardest, eh? Those first
Hmm.
couple
Yeah,
of months.
yeah, for sure. I think. luckily my risk management was good, Jay, right? Like I
Yeah.
didn't even lose that much money when like the first few months I started. It was more of the frustration for me.
Yeah.
Now for others, I can imagine I know a lot of people lose a lot of money off the
Yeah.
get-go. I guess is you have to I guess my advice for new people is because like you're going to experience pain, whether it's money, whether it's frustration, whatever type of demons that you have to deal with. You have to determine whether you're willing, if you want it that bad, if you really want to succeed
Mhm.
in trading that bad, because you're going to have to go through some pain and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to suck. You're, and it's different for everybody how they express themselves through frustration, pain, etc. You have to determine whether you're willing to go through that, and because you're gonna have to, and the only way to get to be successful is through experience, is through going through these things and just screen time, watching the market every single day or as much as you can, and then you'll eventually get it. But a lot of times I feel like with these things, Jay, whether it's trading, I mean, it could be anything in life, is people quit before they give themselves a chance to succeed. And
Yeah, just right
you
when you're at
yeah,
that moment, then people quit, and you just keep pushing past it a little bit,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And if you stick to the process, if you're following people who know what they're doing, you just got to trust the process.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then you got to have the desire. You got to have the desire for it and the
Definitely.
passion.
That's very true. It's yeah, I think the way it messes with your head at first, um, especially if you're not profitable, and not many people are. Some people are profitable off the get-go and then they crash, but I wasn't at all.
Hmm.
And it really messes you. I'm like, man, I did this in this market. I took this stock to this. I did this. I squeezed this. I can't trade one lousy mini contract. Oh my god, it messes with your head.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could like that. And for people who are just starting out, I think um, that is one thing that I'm glad that you brought that you said that, because you know just right where you're at that point where it's gonna crack, then push a little bit harder.
Yeah, yeah. Because we, Jay, we've come across people who they're like, oh, like what's going on, and they've been trading for. They like, I can't win, and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, how long you been trading for? Oh, a month and a half.
Yeah,
Well, no
it's like
shit. No, no shit.
you know,
Give it some time.
yeah,
Size down. Don't trade a
yeah,
lot. Sim trade, or
yeah,
or
just
whatever
learn.
whatever
Yeah,
you got to do to
yeah,
not like kill yourself financially, right?
yeah,
Because we're all about
definitely.
capital preservation. You need that,
Yeah,
and you got to give it time, and
yeah.
you got to have the passion for it.
Well, that's what I tell a lot of the young guys, like that are early 20s. I'm like, you've got like 30 years of trading ahead of you,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Don't worry about it. It's gonna happen.
Right.
You
Right.
know. Alrighty. Well, let's see here. Oh gosh, and of course, if the one question from the peanut galleries, can you give your opinion on trading low float penny stock junk?
I love that.
Gee, I wonder. That's kind of a loaded question, huh? Gee, I wonder what the answer
Uh,
is going to be.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on like how low, because I'll trade. I mean, you've seen some of the stuff
Yeah,
I trade, Jay.
yeah,
Some of them are low floats.
yeah,
I've dubbed myself the low float goat. And it's halfway
yeah.
joking. But no, some of these are, some of these really low manipulated ones that you would have dealt with in the past.
Yes.
You're gambling. I mean, slot machine trades is what I call them. The
It's
price action's so whippy. I don't know how you see an edge. Maybe some people can do it. Good for them.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
I rather have something I can react to, have enough time to react to. You know?
and the nice thing about what I've seen in the scans that you guys are coming up with is the price action is actually kind of luxurious.
Yeah.
Like, it's not jumping all over the place. It's not like you're drinking a bottle of Pepto Bismol because it's stressful. It's like, and if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. That's it. Then the next trade's coming. And it's
Hmm.
that seems like a way. more healthy way to
No,
trade.
for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah. Well, obviously we coded it that way, so it kind of eliminates some of the crazy price action, low floats that a lot of people get enamored
Yeah.
by because they're like, "Oh my God, this was up 200% today. I could look what I missed." No, you didn't miss shit. You would have like that's so hard to catch. Like, it, you know what I mean? And this is what
Yeah.
screws people up, Jay. Right? Is because they hit one of
Yeah.
these, they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like, and they
Yeah.
keep chasing. It's like a fucking drug, man. Like they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
chasing the high, and which it is. And like
Yeah.
Kim talks about this, people can like be trading for the wrong reasons. Like you can get like addicted to it. Like winning money
Oh,
is fucking
yeah.
addictive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it can really fuck people up, man. It really can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's true.
I like to, yeah, I like to trade things where I see an edge, or I just these really low floats are, I try and stay away. I try and stay away.
the it's it this is going to be a very interesting time for you coming up, um, as this election comes around the corner, and
Hmm.
month end and year end and things like that. You're really trading in historic times.
Yeah.
I haven't seen markets um, trade like this in my career. It's very, very interesting to see, the level of concentration of ownership of things. Uh, it's It'll be cool to see how you adapt when things change, and the volatility and all of that. I still remember when we were trading in March and it was going crazy, and I didn't have it figured out the first week. Definitely, I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Uh-huh.
you know the
Yeah.
way the price action was.
Hmm.
And now you're a completely different trader. The way you've matured, you'll be like, oh, this is just nuts. I'm just going to sit and wait until it calms down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not putting my foot in this water. Are you nuts? It's
Right.
full of piranhas.
Right.
It's it. So things like that. It's really cool watching you and some of the guys too. How they've progressed very, very quickly. Because I meet a lot of retail traders who still, after 5 or 10 years, they're getting, the jumping and following price
Hmm.
or things like that. So it's really cool to see how you've adapted.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah. It's experience too, Jay.
yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
just the main factor. I mean,
yeah,
March was, I don't know how many months ago, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever.
yeah,
And yeah, I didn't know no better.
yeah,
I just didn't know no better. So that goes back to the point before, is that you got to get in that experience. You got to get in the arena. You got to get beat up, and that's just part of the process. And don't get like discouraged and like beat yourself up, because that's another thing, right, Jay? People want to like
yeah.
beat themselves up so much.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, no, it's part of the process. It's okay.
yeah. It's okay.
Lick your wounds, come back, be smart about it.
And that's the thing. When we were trained on the other side, we were told that we didn't know anything and our opinion was worthless. So
Hmm. Hmm.
they started you out there and then they build you up, right? They completely rip you down, and then you start proving yourself and then they build you up. So you don't have that in retail trading. So it's a real huge damage to your ego. Um, how did it feel going from, and this is, following through, how did you go from, being a winning professional poker player to a new trader who, only had a couple of months of learning and then not making any money? Can you give people advice on, when you're just starting out trading,
Hmm.
um, you know, it's not going to pay your bills.
Yeah, yeah, no. I thought about it plenty of times. Like, man, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna go back to poker. I thought
Yeah,
about it plenty, and during the beginning, I was still playing poker, though,
yeah,
because I had to make money. But yeah, I mean, it was tough. But I kept in my mind. I knew, because learning poker and attempting to master poker, get proficient at poker to where I could support myself, I knew what the trajectory looked like.
hmm,
I knew the pain that was involved.
yeah,
So learning trading, while it was frustrating, while it was painful at times, I knew what this path was going to look like and what it was going to entail. And so
Yeah,
I just kept that in mind and like, okay, let's just keep trucking forward. Let's keep trucking
yeah,
forward. I'm in good hands with Jay. Like,
yeah.
we're just, I'll get it eventually. And
Yeah,
you gotta have some faith.
that is that totally makes sense because it's it's not your first barbecue, right? So
Hmm.
at least the process is not going to be like the storybooks, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, right, exactly, exactly.
Oh man. So how is go into lifestyle here a little bit. How do you you know being down in South Florida,
Uh-huh.
um what how do you keep your lifestyle in balance doing all this, managing rooms, podcasts, and also being a single dad?
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in balance for sure. I like to think, why, in the room, especially like in the room, I come off as like real, um,
Yeah,
joke around a lot, real
yeah,
loose. But I really like, uh, am disciplined in my life. Like I really structure my life. Um, like wake up in the morning at a certain time, have a routine, get ready for the market, et cetera. Because I mean, I really believe in all this balance. As soon as the trading day, I mean, I'm pretty much in front of the screen the whole time during the trading day.
mm,
Then right after, I go to the gym. I've been working out for a while. I believe in the benefits of working out. That helps. I'm instead of the screen all day. I got to get up. I got to move. I know a few people at the gym. With some trouble I
yeah.
get into at the gym.
Oh yeah,
Getting into some
yeah,
trouble at the gym. But that's all part of like my balance in recharging. I mean, I'm so focused during the day, looking for trades like all the time, and probably sometimes too much. I probably need to step away from the screen sometimes. Honestly, go take a walk around the neighborhood or something,
hmm,
because I can notice like sometimes I'm getting just like sucked in and like I don't know if my brain is as fresh as it should be. But anyway,
yeah,
but that's why I like to have fun though too, because
yeah,
like okay, let me go to the gym, let me work out, let me like dick around a little bit, talk with
yeah,
people, talk with girls, whatever.
yeah.
You
Go blow
know,
off some steam.
yeah, go out on the weekends, have fun. I mean, I'm in South Florida, like take advantage of it. Go out on the weekends, have fun. I got a son, so that's a lot of fun too. That grounds me. I got to be there for him.
Yeah,
Um,
he's quite a character. He's a cool kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I take trading really serious, but I also have like time to myself with my kid, reading, whatever working out to, recharge myself. Because if you're just trading, if you're just markets 100% of the time, I don't think your mind is gonna be clear and you're not gonna be performing at your optimal.
It's true. It's true. Uh, my girlfriend has put me on this health regimen, and in like 3 weeks, I feel completely different.
Hmm.
Like my energy level is just off the chain. So yeah, it's really good too. It'd be nice if I lived somewhere like South Florida. I could go walking. Don't freeze every morning, but
you,
oh
you,
well,
you're gonna
you
have
know.
to you bundling up soon, huh? It's getting cold up there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna snow in a couple of weeks, and then it'll be misery.
Oh
But
boy.
that's okay.
Oh,
Hopefully, it's my last winter here.
yeah, yeah. He got your sights on somewhere else, huh?
Definitely, definitely.
Very
Yeah,
good.
looking across the pond, very
Yeah,
very much so.
very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
Well, I think that wraps up all our questions. Do we have any questions from the room? I don't think.
No, I
Uh,
don't. We
no.
should have. We probably should have got some questions from the room. Probably got some
Yeah.
funny ones, but yeah, I guess I wrap it up. Jay, I just want to I want to thank you, man, like for bringing me into this. Like I was saying earlier, it was a little. I had some doubts, I guess, at the beginning,
Yeah.
but I knew
Oh,
what the path was going to look like. But I'm really happy I came into this. I have a lot of fun trading. I have a lot of fun doing this podcast. A lot of fun in the room. So I thank you, and I wouldn't have got to this point without you.
oh man, it's great. It's amazing watching how you've progressed, and this is really cool. And we've become good friends, and it's one thing I got to say about Ray. He's kept me from becoming a grouchy old man, which I have to really thank him for that. And so that's I really appreciate that. He keeps me he's kept me on an even keel until I got a girlfriend. So
There we go. Now it's her
yeah,
job. Now it's her
kept me
job.
from losing my mind, living in the frozen tundra.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it's been a ride, man, and we got lots of lots of years left. So
Oh yeah.
it's gonna
Absolutely.
be this whole next month. It's gonna be a trip. It's gonna be one for the history books in the next little while here. So
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we'll enjoy the ride. We're gonna enjoy the ride.
definitely, definitely.
All right. So that concludes today's episode of Confessions of a Market Maker. If you guys enjoyed the show, please rate and review it for us. If you guys want to learn market auction theory, market profile, trade futures, trade equities, trade options, you join JJ and I at microefutures.com. For Paulie Walnuts, he's the gorilla. You stop, though.
Good night, everyone.